Hello everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome to my art creations channel. And what I have for you today is this little painting that I did springtime influenced. I used watercolor and then I also used some gel pens and some salt and some rubbing alcohol to create this really pretty colorful painting. And I will show you how I did it. It's easy and fun and you can tailor it to how you would like to do it with different colors or whatever. Just have fun with it. And first of all, I'm going to show you some other little paintings that I've done recently. I've just been in the mood to do flowers, as you can see, and these are really fun and easy for me to do. And I did them on cold pressed watercolor paper, and I tore the edges there, and I use the same stuff that I'm going to use in the video I'm showing you today, but I just wanted to show you these little ones that I did. I really love working on little pieces of paper like that. And then I also did this one here, and this one to me turned out a little busy, too much stuff, but it kind of gave me inspiration to do the one that I'm going to show you today. I pulled the stuff out of that one into this one that I wanted to recreate. So I am using hot pressed watercolor paper. So it's hot pressed watercolor paper, 5x7 on a block, Leyton brand. I'm using only 3 colors, permanent, oh maybe more, permanent rose, sorry, Aussie red gold, green gold, sap green, and I thought I was going to use some Payne's gray, but I don't. And those are the pens that I'm using and my rubbing alcohol. And then I'll also be using some salt right there. And I will list all my supplies in the description, so you'll be able to see exactly what I'm using. And I'll tell you along the way too. So I start with wet on wet background. So I have a 3/4 inch flat brush there, and I'm just wetting the background pretty good. Now this is on a block, so I didn't have to tape it down or anything. So I'm starting with a pretty good amount of permanent rose. I'm just painting on the permanent rose, and then I'm going in with the Aussie red gold. And the permanent rose and the Aussie red gold makes a really pretty bright color when they mix together, like a kind of a red, a bright red. But I didn't want them to mix together too much because I like the pink and the Aussie red gold kind of separate also. So I'm just, as you can see, just putting in some color there and letting it kind of spread. Thought that was really pretty. Then I added a little bit of sap green. Oh, sorry, no, sorry, that's the green gold. And those colors work really nice together. But then I added the sap green. There we go. So I'm just kind of making like grass, and I wanted the background to be really bright. So I'm just slopping it on there, and it's pretty wet, as you can see. I'm moving it around. And I am going to come in with the rubbing alcohol. I have this rubbing alcohol in a dropper. I'm just dropping in where I want to put the flowers. And it creates those cool shapes, as you can see. I really love this technique. I use it a lot with different things, but it's a lot of fun. And you never know what kind of blobs it's going to create. And then I put a little bit of salt on the bottom there. This is almost too wet. The bottom had a little bit too much water, but I thought, well, I could soak it up. And then I thought, no, I'll just go ahead and just move it around. So yeah, I like to make these shapes with the rubbing alcohol for flowers because there's so much you could do with them to create some really interesting flowers. So I wanted to add butterflies. That was my main thing for this painting, is the butterflies. I just was in the mood for butterflies, and I really like the way the butterflies turned out in that other painting. So I'm just taking a tissue, kind of crinkled up, you know, kind of rolled up, and I'm just dabbing at the paint to where I think I might want to put a butterfly. And I didn't use all those little white areas for the butterflies, but this is hot press paper, so it does dry quicker than cold press paper. So I had to kind of work quickly with it. So if you use cold press paper, you probably have a little bit more time to do your little white, take out some of the paint with your tissue. And then I wanted to take a little bit more paint out too around the salt, just to create a little bit more white. So the salt did make some cool textures, but I also used my tissue to take out more of the paint. Now I'm coming in with my black marker. It is, I believe it's a 0.5 tip marker, and it's waterproof. And I'm just going over those blobs with butterfly shapes. Now, if you have this on, I have this on real speed. I didn't speed this up, but you can slow this down if you want to see how I did those butterfly shapes with the black pen. And I tried to do them loose. Kind of just like, see, there's simple shapes, a body and a couple wings, but you can go online and there's lots of pictures of butterflies on there that show you them in flight, so you can kind of, create different views of the butterflies. So after that, then I started on my flowers. When I do these flowers, I try to do a couple different shapes, different line styles. So, but maybe 2 or 3 different ones, and I kind of randomly, do them in different areas of the painting. But I just use simple lines, as you can tell, and I just kind of look at the blob, and try to think, okay, what kind of flower could this look like? It's a lot of fun. Next, I come in with this needle tip 0.3 liquid gel ink pen, and as you can see up there, it creates these really fine black lines, and I like mixing up the fine black lines with the thicker lines. I think it just creates dimension, and I like the way it looks. So I'm just coming back and adding more detail to the flowers with this fine tip marker. I really love this fine tip marker. I will tell you what type, I think it's a Pentel, but I'll put it in the description also. The one thing though about it is not waterproof, so you have to be really careful with it. You don't want to go back over it with paint, like watercolor or something like that that's wet, because it will smear. Unless you can kind of do a cool effect with that if that's what you're going for, but if you don't, you don't want to get this wet. So next I'm coming in with an even thicker black marker because I wanted the butterflies to stand out. And this is, I don't know what size it is because it doesn't have any markings on it of the size. I actually got it at the dollar store, believe it or not, but it's waterproof and I really like the way it works. So I'm just kind of going over some of my lines to darken them up, ones that I feel like maybe need to be a little thicker, like the stems and I'll go over some of the dots on the flowers, but the main thing I go over are the butterfly wings because I really wanted the butterflies to stand out in this painting because it is like a butterfly garden. So I was liking the way that looked, but of course it needs some white white dots, some white gel pen, some highlights. So I just come back with my gel pen and I add white dots just to some areas that I wanted to highlight. Mostly the little black dots I added white and a few other areas just to emphasize some highlights. So I thought it looked really cute like that. And now I come in with some paint to do the butterflies. I mean, you can leave the butterflies the way they are, and I thought they were really pretty that way actually, but I wanted them to be a little bit more bright, so I just took some of the paint that I had used for the background, some of the permanent rose and some of the Aussie red gold. I mixed some together to add, and I also did a few separate colors, but I just use those two colors to brighten up the butterflies. So if you use different colors for yours, if you try this and you want to do it with different colors, I think that work out great. You just use those maybe same colors for your butterflies, or you can even do them different colors, But I liked the way that those two colors looked together. I thought it was really pretty. And then I thought the bottom area needed something, and I liked the way it looked, but I don't know. I thought I just need some kind of color maybe to balance it out. So I wetted those areas there where the salt had made those effects there, and I wet it with some water, and then I dropped in some of the color that I was using, some of the permanent rose. Mostly the permanent rose I dropped in there. And then right there, I actually had a purple that I dropped in, which I did not mention in the beginning. So I will add that color to the description. I think it was a quinacridone purple, if I remember right. So I did that, and then I came back with my white gel pen and I wanted to add some highlights to the butterflies. So then after using the white gel pen, I came in with this blue gel pen, Jelly Roll gel pen. It's a light blue, and I really like the way the light blue looked against that permanent rose, that pink and that orange mixed together. So I added, as you can see, I went over the white areas of the tips of the wings of the butterflies. I did some blue over that, and then I'm also adding blue dots just around the butterflies in the air, because I just love that blue gel pen with that pink. I thought it just looked really pretty. So after I do that, then I do decide also to add some blue to the flowers also. Oh, first I do add a little bit of the blue highlight to the butterfly bodies too, just to give them a pop of color, make them stand out. And then I decided that, oh, maybe I should put a little bit of this blue into each flower, a little bit differently into each flower. And then so I do that, and then I do come in and I decided I really like that blue so much, and it reminded me of springtime. So I do come in and go down each stem of the flower with that blue pen also. Oh, wait. First I do this. Sorry. I make my squigglies. I love doing these squiggly marks. And as you can see, I'm just kind of doing these I just kind of squiggle over that area there. I just think it's interesting. I just like the way that looks. That blue pen just kind of pops over those colors there. It almost kind of has a glowing look in a way. So yeah, I do my squigglies. And then there I go. I come back and use that pen on the stems. And then I'd make more squigglies. I call them squigglies. Real, good term for them. And then I come back and make some swirly marks with that blue pen around some of the flowers. And that is it. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank everybody so much. There's the completed painting. I thought it was so pretty. It really is a springtime painting. I love the colors, but I want to thank everybody so much for watching, giving me your time and watching this. I hope it inspires you to make a painting yourself. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.